Coming up on Sports Night. The Cats went bowling in the rain, and we were there to cover it all.
Amateur Chicago kickers give their best Cody Parkey interpretations.
And don't look now, but the National Women's Soccer League just got a big influx of purple. We'll tell you all about it.
The new year is upon us, so that means new quarter, new teams, and new faces around here.
And most of all, it means a new Sports Night. And it starts right now. Welcome back to the first Sports Night of 2019. I'm Myles Miller. This man to my left is Pat Timlin. Pat, how did you ring in the new year?
Well, Myles, thanks for asking. I enjoyed the night downtown with some friends, watching the fireworks in AV Pier. It was a really nice time. How about you? How did you enjoy New Year's Eve?
I spent a wholesome night at home watching Northwestern take on Utah in the Holiday Bowl. What else would I be doing?
Your Twitter said something else, Myles.
It was a magical 2018 for the Wildcats, highlighted by the first Big Ten title game appearance in program history. They also reached a bowl game for the fourth straight year. This time it was against a 17th ranked Utah squad in the Holiday Bowl. Could the Cats make it 3 straight bowl wins? The rain was pouring down in San Diego, and Utah started off by pouring it on the Cats. First quarter, Jalen Dixon hauls in the 27-yard pass from Jalen Shelley to put Utah up 7-0. Still in the first, Jake Jackson takes a 4-yard pass from Jason Shelley to put Utah up 14-0 early on. Second quarter now, Matt Gay with a 20-yard field goal gives the Utes a 23 halftime lead. It was not looking good for the Cats. Third quarter, Northwestern started acting totally different. Riley Lees catches a 4-yard pass from Clayton Thorson, Cats down 20-10. Jared McGee scoops up the fumble, and he could go all the way. 82 yards on the return, Cats trail by 3. The big fella, Trey Clark, secures the bag with a 20-yard touchdown catch from Clayton Thorson, and the Cats are in the lead, 24-20. We're still in the third quarter, people. Riley Lees with the 8-yard touchdown run, ending you up double digits, and another fumble recovery to seal the deal. Cats win the Holiday Bowl by a score of 31-20.
In one of the biggest comebacks in Northwestern football history, the Cats clawed back to a 31-20 victory over the Utah Utes in this year's Holiday Bowl. In the third quarter alone, the Cats went on a 28-0 scoring run and forced 4 turnovers. Quarterback Clayton Thorson completed passes to numerous receivers, including offensive lineman Trey Clark. But the game really shifted in the third quarter off of a 86-yard fumble return for touchdown by safety Jared McGee. Now, bigger picture, the Cats have won 9 games in 3 of the last 4 seasons, and most likely will finish in the top 25 of this year's rankings. Reporting live from SDCCU Stadium, I'm Evan Denton, NNN Sports.
Now, San Diego was crawling with Wildcat fans all weekend and New Year's Eve day, and our own Andrew Fenichel was on the streets to catch up with some friends and families of players. Roll the tape.
I'm here at the San Diego Marina, and today we're going to be talking to some Northwestern fans and hopefully really just anyone we can find about Monday's game. All right, so I'm here with
Kevin McGowan,
Jason Pace.
Todd Larson.
obviously big bowl game going on here in San Diego tomorrow, the Holiday Bowl featuring the Northwestern Wildcats and the Utah Utes. I'll start off by saying, are you excited for the game tomorrow?
Totally excited. It should be fun.
First of all, like 1 to 10, how excited are you for this game?
Oh, it's excellent.
What have you been up to the last couple days?
We actually just flew in today.
Okay.
So we've just been hanging out here at the marina, walking up and down. I got a little exercise in earlier.
All right, I guess last thing, you got anything to say to Jared himself?
Yes, one thing I always tell my son is, he'll know what this means. Jay, I got that, sir.
All right.
Just lay it all out. It's the last game of the year. worked so hard in the summer leading up to this point, so just leave it out there.
And last but not least,
We love you, and we're so proud of you. Go Cats.
Joining us today is former NNN sports director, contributor to WNU Sports, and my friend, Adam Braunstein. Now, it is a pleasure to have you on the
Thanks
show
for
today.
having me.
Yeah, no problem. Now, we have to talk about the third quarter of the Holiday Bowl. What changed for the Cats coming out of the locker room?
So as you said, Northwestern not doing well at halftime, needed to make a big adjustment, and that's exactly what they did. Coming into in the second half of this game, particularly the third quarter, Northwestern just started making big play after big play. All in all, in this game, Northwestern caused 6 turnovers. J.R. Pace and Jared McGee both had fumble recoveries. Blake Gallagher had an interception. The offense seemed to start clicking in the third quarter, making a lot of big plays. And overall, Utah was just unable to keep up from that point. Northwestern went on a huge run. I believe it was 28-0 in the third quarter, and Utah was never able to catch back up after that. So great adjustments by the coaching staff, but also give the players their credit where it's due. They went out there and made big plays on the biggest stage of the season, and you have to give Northwestern a lot of credit for ending the season on such a high note, despite the very sluggish first half.
And you're right. You know, the Holiday Bowl pushed the Cats to 9-5 on the season, 7-2 in Big Ten play, and they won the Big Ten West, but they didn't win a non-conference game. They finished in the top 25. It was all over the place. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the Cats season?
Overall, I think this was a great season for Northwestern. I think I'd go 8 out of 10. Overall, you have to remember where this team started. At one point, they were 1-3, and many considered this season just gone, as though this was going to be a wasted season, Clayton Thorson's final year here. And Northwestern was able to turn it around. After that 1-3 start, their only 2 losses came against Ohio State and Notre Dame. So they really kicked it into high gear and beat everyone they had. They really could make a reasonable claim that they should have beaten. And the 2 teams that they went up against, who were really in the upper echelon of college football, they put up very solid fights against. So I think you have to give this Northwestern team a ton of credit for how well they performed. Not quite a 9 or a 10, because you didn't get that Big Ten championship win over Ohio State. That's really what would take a Northwestern season and make it a 9 or 10 out of 10. But short of that, I think Northwestern did just about all you could have asked for. I think an 8 out of 10 is a fair assessment of how this team did this season.
We touched on it earlier, but the Holiday Bowl marked the Cats' 3rd straight bowl win. However, it also marked the final game of Clayton Thorson's record-breaking career here in Evanston. Who do you see stepping up under center next year for the Cats?
That's the big question that everyone's going to be asking all offseason. I think there are 2 main options for the Cats. The first of which is an in-house option, TJ Green. He played in 9 games as a junior, and now as a rising senior, he comes in with the most experience, the most gameplay, and the best understanding of the offense that Mick McCall wants to run. That's something that Northwestern really values. It's a team that values continuity and keeping the same coaches on the staff and running more or less a similar system year after year. So I think he's going to get a very legitimate shot. However, Hunter Johnson, the five-star high school recruit transferring from Clemson to Northwestern, is definitely who I think most Northwestern fans are expecting to see in action this season. He comes in very highly touted and really didn't do anything at Clemson to make you think he's not the player people thought he would be outside of high school. He just didn't see any playing time in the future given what Trevor Lawrence has done. So I think that those are the 2 options, and I would give the edge to Hunter Johnson right now.
Cool. At this point, we typically ask for a score projection, but as you and I both know, there's no football game next week. Instead, I'll ask you, what do you think the Cats' win total will be next season?
I think right around the 8-9 win mark makes sense for them again. I think it's very hard to predict with Northwestern this far from the season because it's not a program that typically gets the highest ranked recruits. However, what they do really well is that they develop their in-house talent. So I think that Northwestern is hard to predict right now because you just don't know how much better guys are going to get from right now until when the season starts in late August, early September. But I think 8-9 wins right around that same area makes sense.
Wow. Well, Adam, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Northwestern head football coach Pat Fitzgerald was named the 2018 Big Ten Coach of the Year by unanimous vote. Fitzgerald led the Cats to a 9-5 overall record and the first Big Ten West championship in program history. Fitz is no stranger to winning national awards, as he was a 2-time All-American as a player. Athletic Director Jim Phillips congratulated Fitzgerald, saying winning the award is a, quote, huge deal. No question he's deserving of it. He is the leader of this operation, end quote.
And that's the last we will talk about Northwestern football until the NFL draft. But coming up after the break, we have a full slate of Cats basketball. Stay tuned.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for the sweet victories, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Welcome back. With the new year comes New Year's resolutions. What's your New Year's resolution, Myles?
Well, mine is to go to at least one men's basketball game this season.
And how's that going for you so far?
Listen, Pat, it's a marathon, not a sprint. The year is still young.
You're right.
2018 has been an up and down year for men's basketball, with 1 win and 1 loss in 2019, heading into a tough 2-game stretch against ranked Big Ten opponents. First up, number 2 ranked Michigan Wolverines in Ann Arbor. First half, AJ Turner passes to Ryan Taylor. He pulls up to the Wendy's drive-thru and says, "I like a 4-piece, please." Gets the 3 and the foul, converting the 4-point play. Next play, it's Miller time. Miller Kopp goes coast to coast for the layup. Then, AJ Turner to Ryan Taylor again for the catch and shoot 3. Cats down big after the first half, however, 50-28. Beginning of the second half, AJ Turner finds Derek Parton with a half-court pass. Parton does the rest. Later on, Miller Kopp drops his own dime to Parton for another dunk. Northwestern trying to chip away at the big lead. Later in the half, Jordan Poole tries to drive on AJ Turner. AJ Turner says, "Give me that," with a nasty block. Late in the game, Anthony Gaines hits a nice little jump hook shot, but it wasn't enough as the Cats will fall 80-60. Their next game came at home against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Early in the first half, Anthony Gaines drives in, hits a double clutch layup. Kids call that an and-one, which he would go on to convert. Pete Nance comes up with the loose ball, throws it down the court to find Vic Law for the dunk. Watch your head, young fella. Ryan Taylor gets the layup to go right before the halftime buzzer, and it's all tied 34 apiece. Second half now, Vic Law kicks it to AJ Turner. 3-ball, corner pocket, giving Northwestern its biggest lead for the game. Joe Weiskamp hits the 3 for Iowa, giving them the lead for the rest of the game, and they would not look back. Jordan Bohannon gets the little scoop layup to go in as Iowa closes out the game. Hawkeyes dribble out the clock and win the contest 73-63.
Staying on the basketball court, the Northwestern women's basketball team, who were coming off a resume-building win against the top 15 Michigan State Spartans, had a pair of tough Big Ten matchups this past week and had to play without injured senior captain Abby Scheid. Roll the tape. Northwestern found themselves in West Lafayette on Sunday to take on the Purdue Boilermakers. It was a back-and-forth game early in the first quarter, but Lindsey Pulliam, you're going to be hearing that name a lot, gets the jumper to go. In the second quarter, Purdue starts to pull away with the barrage of threes and a jumper, all a part of a 13-2 run. However, Northwestern came out of the locker room in the second half looking to close the gap. Abby Wolf rolls and lays it in here. Then Birdie Galernick is found open on the wing. She gets the three-pointer to go in to bring the Cats within 6. Cats then find themselves in a close game with just seconds left, down 3. Pulliam gets the ball, dribbles to her spot. The defender in her face gets the jumper to go. Cats down just 1 with 10 seconds left. They force a turnover, get the ball back, and Pulliam gets it again from the post. It goes in and it goes out. Purdue gets the rebound, passes it back in, ends up winning by 3, game to the Boilermakers. Then just 3 days later, the Cats would be in Indiana again, this time taking on the Hoosiers of Indiana University. And here, they work the ball around until Lindsey Pulliam finds a cutting Abby Wolf, who puts it in for an easy 2 points. Cats up 11 in the first quarter. Early in the second quarter now, the Cats again are in the half-court set, trying to find an opening in the Hoosier defense. And who else does it other than the sophomore Pulliam? She gets a dribble going, off a screen here from Abby Wolf, pulls up from the elbow, bucket goes in. Cats are up 11 at the half. Fast forward to the third quarter, Cats have a comfortable lead here as Lindsey Pulliam looks to create for herself again. She gets the screen from Abby Wolf, goes there, pump fake, body to the defender, and hello to the basket. Cats are closing out the game in the fourth, and they find an open Veronica Burton from the wing who gets the 3-pointer to go in. Cats end up winning the game by 6.
And now for some further insight into both the men's and women's squad, I'm joined by Peter Warren from the Daily Northwestern. How's it going, Peter?
It's going well. Glad to be here.
Well, the women's basketball team is having a pretty impressive season so far. They just beat a ranked Indiana team last night. But overall, they're in the top half of the Big Ten standings. What's gone well for them so far this season?
Well, what they've really done well is play well in close games. Now, the Cats so far are only 3-3 in the Big Ten. But all of those losses have come by just a few points, and they've had chances to win at the end at all 3. We just saw the highlights of the Purdue game, a very winnable game. They played at Rutgers in December, which was very close, again down to the wire. And they also lost to Michigan just by 1, in a close one they could have won again. And we saw the win there against Indiana. They also won against number 15 Michigan State earlier in the year. So they are playing games close, and when they have chances to knock off big teams, they're doing it, Myles.
Now, switching over to the men's side, it's been sort of the opposite for them this season. What do they have to do to get this season going in the right direction?
Well, the loss of Vic Law last game, and possibly for more, is obviously tough. But I think the key going forward is going to be getting Derek Pardon more post touches. Derek has been outstanding on the block this year, shooting a very efficient 61% from the field. And while his 3-ball has not lived up to the expectations he hyped up before the year, having him play well in the post and giving him more touches should open up shots for guys like Ryan Taylor and A.J. Turner, who themselves have struggled from 3.
So try to work the offense in through Pardon more. And last question, is there any chance that either basketball team makes the run at the NCAA tournament?
I mean, the season is still young. We still have about 2 months to go before March Madness. But I think both teams have very good shots. Look at the women's team. We mentioned some of their big wins earlier. They also beat a ranked Duke team way earlier in the year, had a win against a tough Green Bay team in Green Bay. What gives these women's Wildcats such a good chance of making tournament is these wins against high-profile teams. You hear a lot about resume-boosting wins when the March comes around, and the Cats have plenty of those so far, and they continue on their stretch. I think they have a good chance to make it to the tournament. As for the men, they're sort of in the opposite direction. They do not have any high-profile resume-boosting wins so far. The Michigan game in December would have been amazing for that resume, as would have been an Oklahoma win earlier in December if they were able to get that. So going forward, they need to sort of get some of those high-profile wins. In their next 5 games, they have 2 must-win games against Penn State and Rutgers, both teams in the bottom of the Big Ten, where if you lose, it's going to really start to go downhill. But then they have 3 games against teams either ranked or receiving votes in the AP poll. A win against either one of those 3 teams will be crucial to help sort of keep their stretch going as they hope to get to the tournament.
Well, thank you to Peter Warren for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you want to hear more from Peter, check out the Daily Northwestern.
Now, my new year was off to a phenomenal start until the night of January 6th. Now my life will forever be haunted by the double doink heard around the world. However, Goose Island decided to turn this tragedy into cheer. Chris Burton has the story.
Thanks, Pat. The NFC wildcard game was one that the city of Chicago would probably rather forget. In case you somehow didn't see it, the Bears lost to the Eagles on a missed Cody Parkey field goal as time expired. The 43-yard kick was actually blocked, but that's beside the point. Raging Bears fans were everywhere, claiming they could have made the kick, and Goose Island Brewery, headquartered in downtown Chicago, challenged them to do it. Abriel Sirigar and I headed downtown last weekend and ran into a well-known Wildcat at Goose Island's Field Goal Challenge. Overnight, goalposts appeared in the middle of West Fulton Street. On Friday, the street was just like any other, but by Saturday morning, the yellow tubes rose to the sky, announcing Goose Island Brewery's field goal challenge. 100 kickers tried their foot, at the 43-yard field goal, and among them was one familiar face, Emily Harriet.
There is a lovely woman named Dana who works for Goose Island. I'm not particularly sure which department, but she seemed very nice. And so she actually found me on Facebook and messaged me and asked me if I wanted to come down to their event to do what I do best and cheer on the kickers.
Harriet, known to many as the Shrieker, has made headlines recently after Northwestern officials asked her to silence her high-pitched cheer at basketball games. Her latest appearance? As a VIK, very important kicker, at last Saturday's event.
I said I would kick, although I told them that I was not going to be very good at it. It is not going to go very far. It'll probably go sideways and break a window. But I did tell them I would kick. It sounded like fun, and why not?
And how did that kick go? Well...
All right, Emily, so what happened with that kick?
So I did not necessarily go 43 yards. I think I went more like 4, but it was great. It bounced off the fence. So I tragically did not win free beer for a year or whatever the prize was, although I will note I am 22. But yeah, it was great. I mean, did I make it? No, but it was fun.
Don't worry, Emily. No one else made the kick either, and some kickers failed pretty spectacularly. But it was a fun event. In fact, to use Emily's word, it was great. Hopefully some of the fans that ended up on their butt will cut Parkey a little slack. At the very least, Saturday proved that kicking a 43-yarder is a little harder than it looks. Pat, Myles, back to you.
Thanks, Chris. Coming up after the break, we're talking about Wildcats who've made it big time. Unlike the Goose Island Challenge, you won't want to miss kicking it with us, so stick around.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for the sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back to Sports Night. Myles, you weren't here last quarter, but I feel like I've seen you before.
I don't really know where that would have been, Pat.
You didn't ever coach a girls' freshman volleyball team? Well, I have something that might jog your memory. Here's a photo from 2015 of us co-coaching freshman girls volleyball at Whitney Young High School. We went on to finish second in the city that year, in case you didn't remember, Myles.
Oh, that's right. We did go to the same high school. Yeah, it's great to see you again. I guess it's sort of a new beginning for us.
And we're not the only ones looking at new beginnings in 2019. In last Thursday's National Women's Soccer League draft, 3 Northwestern women's soccer players were selected. The Chicago Red Stars drafted defenders Kayla Sharples with the 8th pick in the 3rd round and Hannah Davison with the 6th pick in the 4th round. Also, midfielder Marissa Vigiano was selected in the 4th round by the Orlando Pride. The 3 players made Northwestern tied for first in teams with players selected in the 2019 NWSL College Draft, with only powerhouses Stanford and North Carolina also having 3 draftees. As their time at Northwestern comes to an end, Cats women's soccer coach Michael Moynihan spoke on the commitment of the players, saying, quote, "They've put in an awful lot of hard work and to raise our program to a pretty high level in a pretty short time." And Moynihan is right. The trio will leave Northwestern as the winningest class in Wildcats history. For Sharples and Davison, their new coach will actually be an old coach. The 2 played high school club soccer together in Chicago with current Red Stars head coach Rory Dames. Now, we here at Northwestern Sports Night wish them the best of luck as they get ready to compete at the sport's highest stage.
It's always an exciting yet challenging task when the '1 team in the country comes into your building. Well, that's what the wrestling team was going up against this past Friday when the top-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions came to town. Packed house at Welsh Ryan Arena for this Friday night action. Not only is Penn State ranked #1 in the country for wrestling, but they have 3 different wrestlers ranked #1 in their respective weight class. So the Wildcats will have their hands full tonight. Northwestern Sebastian Rivera ranked #1 in the country at 125 pounds. With his win, he improves upon his undefeated redshirt sophomore season and goes to 15-0 on the year. Tyler Moreland is the only other wrestler from Northwestern who won against Penn State, and that was his first win of the season. The Wildcats will go on to lose by a final total of 33-8, but hey, it's not all bad because Northwestern held Penn State to its fewest points scored of the entire season.
And we'll continue on the fighting trend here at Sports Night, except this time we'll be using foils. The Northwestern women's fencing team continued its remarkable start to the 2019 campaign and swept all 7 opponents at the Western Invitational on Sunday, improving the team record to an astounding 23-1. Sophomores Isabella Min and Sarah Philby finished the meet undefeated, as Northwestern went on to defeat teams from around the country, such as Stanford, Florida, Air Force, and the University of California, San Diego. The fencing team will look to continue their success as they prepare for their next matchup this weekend at the Philadelphia Invitational in the city of brotherly love.
Taking it back to the pros, there's a former Wildcat with an opportunity to reach the Super Bowl this weekend. Former Northwestern star wide receiver Austin Carr will take the field for the New Orleans Saints this Sunday as they face the Los Angeles Rams. Winner goes to Atlanta and will represent the NFC in Super Bowl 53. I think I speak for everyone here on Sports Night when I say we're rooting for you, Austin, and we truly hope the Saints go marching in.
And this new year, I promised that I'd start running more. And so far, the only running I've done is late for class. But at Northwestern, we have plenty of successful runners. The cross-country team competed at the Illini Classic last Saturday, where junior Aubrey Roberts continued her incredible season with a victory in the mile. She finished with a time just 3 seconds behind the school's record set in 2015 by Jenna Pinant. Roberts finished 4th in the 800-meter run, with 3 first-years finishing in the top 15. And after a 2-week break, the Cats will take the track again in the historic Mayo Invitational in South Bend, Indiana on February 1st.
I know all that cross-country talk has got you in the mood, but don't run away. Stay right here because plays of the week are coming up on the other side.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for the sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back. Our theme for the show has been a new year and new beginnings, but some things never change.
And you're right, Myles. That's right. No matter what year it is, no matter who's behind this desk, the one constant is plays of the week. Let's roll it.
At play number 3, Clayton Thorson connects with Trey Klopp for a key touchdown against Utah. A lineman's dream.
Coming in at number 2. Coming in at number 2 is a close game against Illinois, and A.J. Turner tries the 3 to give it to the Cats, but if at first you don't succeed, try again. And he buries the 3-pointer. Cats go on to win by 2 points.
And for our top play, the ultimate momentum shifter, Jared McGee scoops up the Jason Shelley fumble and rumbles down the 405 for a big-time touchdown. Cats would go on to win the Holiday Bowl.
And unfortunately, that's all we have for tonight. Although this show has ended, the year has just begun. So stick around all of 2019 for the best Northwestern sports coverage.
For Pat Timlin, I'm Myles Miller. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Sports Night. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram, like us on Facebook, and of course, tune in next week for Sports Night.